When you've kept aquariums long enough, you start to realize something. Most of the problems we deal with come from things nobody tells you in the beginning. Little details that seem harmless, but end up causing algae, plant issues, or headaches you don't notice until it's too late. So today, I want to share a few things I wish someone had told me years ago, because they would have saved me so much time, stress, and confusion. I'm growing Mycanthemum calitricoides Cuba carpet. It's growing fine, but whenever I trim it, algae appears shortly after. The damaged plants release excess nutrients that lets the algae bloom. I don't think I can do anything about it, or can I? This is a great question, because it's something a lot of people experience. And yes, you can definitely do something about it. Your guess is actually really close to what's happening. When you trim a carpet, you're damaging a huge amount of plant tissue all at once. That damaged tissue releases nutrients back into the water column, the exact same way a melting plant would, or the same way losing a fish adds a sudden nutrient load. And when that happens, your aquarium needs time to process all that. Think of it as a mini cycle. Your beneficial bacteria now have more work to do, breaking down everything the plants released. And while that's happening, algae takes advantage of the temporarily imbalance. So yes, it's normal, but it's not something you have to just accept. Here's what I recommend doing. The week you trim your carpet, reduce fertilization a little bit. Not because fertilizing is bad, but because your plants already release their own fertilizer into the water. If you dose the same amount as usual on top of that, you're basically stacking nutrients, and that extra bit is what triggers the algae bloom. You don't have to cut your dosing in half or anything extreme. Just lower it slightly for a few days or skip one dose. That's usually enough to keep things balanced. And once the plants bounce back and start growing again, you can return to your normal routine. You need to make a proper systemized video about the basics. I know exactly what you mean. I do have plenty of videos that go over the basics, but they are all spread across different topics: lighting, filtration, fertilization, CO2, algae control, all mixed throughout the channel. So yes, I will absolutely make one proper basics of the planted aquarium video soon. Something that goes step by step and covers everything in one place. But for now, let me give you a very simple, clear version of the fundamentals, just so you have an idea of how everything connects. Healthy aquariums only need a few things: nutrition, light, filtration, and stability. Nutrition is the plant's food source, which consists of macros, micros, and ideally a good substrate. Light is what drives growth, but too much light without enough nutrients will always lead to algae. So those two need to balance each other. Filtration is what keeps your water safe. Mechanical removes debris. Biological keeps ammonia and nitrite at zero. Chemical filtration is optional, but it helps keep the water clear and removes unwanted substances. And the last piece, stability, is the part that most people underestimate. You don't need perfect numbers, you don't need fancy equipment. What you need is consistency. Stable CO2 if you use it. Consistent fertilizing, consistent water changes, consistent flow. Plants and fish don't thrive on sudden changes, they thrive on routines. That's really the whole foundation. And don't worry, the big organized basics video is coming. I want to make sure it's done right so that both beginners and experienced aquarists find it genuinely helpful. And guys, if you enjoy my videos but aren't subscribed to the channel, remember to do so. It will help the channel get to more people. And thank you so much in advance. Do you have any experience about Rotala wallichii? Every plant in my tank look good except that one. It is curled at the tip and the color is not nice. Rotala wallichii can be a tricky one. When someone tells me every plant in their tank looks good except wallichii, that already says a lot, because this plant is usually the first one to complain when something is even slightly off. The curled tips you are seeing are almost always a nutrition problem. Wallichii loves soft water, stable CO2, and a very steady nutrient supply, especially when it comes to nitrate and phosphate. If either of those swings too high or too low, the tips start curling, the growth gets thin, and the color fades really quickly. And the frustrating part about this plant is that it doesn't respond instantly. You fix the problem today, and wallichii will show improvements weeks later. So the first thing I'll check is CO2 stability. Even if every other plant looks fine, Wallichi will be the one to tell you if your CO2 is fluctuating too much. After that, take a look at your nitrate levels. Wallichi doesn't like high nitrate the way some other Rotalas do. When nitrate gets too high, the plant becomes greener, the tip curls, and it loses that soft, feathery look. Phosphate should also be present but not excessive. This plant loves balance about everything else. Good light helps with color, but the root issue is almost always a nutrition problem. And if you guys ever want to try this plant under the right conditions, I actually have extremely healthy Rotala Wallichi available right now on my shop. They are grown underwater, fully conditioned, and ready to thrive as soon as you plant them. If you want to check them out, there'll be a link in the description. I don't understand the problem with one algae eater per gallon. Just feed them wafers if they wipe the tank crystal clear? I tried the one algae eater per gallon advice before, and I can tell you from experience, it sounds good on paper, but it doesn't work long term. Algae eaters are not meant to rely on wafers as their main food source. Wafers are great as a supplement, but they don't replace the constant grazing these fish and shrimp normally do throughout the day. When you pack too many algae eaters into a tank, they clean the algae faster than it can grow back. So now you're stuck feeding a huge group of fish and shrimp that were only supposed to be there to control algae. And that leads to two issues. First, uneaten wafers turn into waste. And second, even the eaten ones still increase ammonia, nitrate, everything. So ironically, adding tons of algae eaters can actually create more algae problems because of the extra waste they produce. The other thing is territory and stress. Many algae eaters, especially Orosinclus and Amanos, do better when the tank naturally supports them. When you overstock them, they start competing for food, they don't rest properly, and they become more vulnerable to illness. And remember, algae blooms are never because you don't have enough algae eaters. Algae blooms happen because something in the tank is out of balance. Too many nutrients, not enough plants, or not enough maintenance. Algae eaters help, of course, but they are not the fix. If your aquarium is healthy, 1 or 2 algae eaters per 10 gallons is more than enough, and they'll thrive without you needing to pour wafers into the tank every day. The overcleaning on glass is actually going to depend. If you use sponge magnet cleaner daily, the cleaning process is roughly 15 to 20 seconds. How you clean your aquarium glass and how often you do it is going to determine how frustrating it will be. If you're using a magnet cleaner every single day, then yes, the whole process takes maybe 15 to 20 seconds. Super easy, super lightweight. That's the biggest advantage. Daily cleaning keeps the glass spotless and algae never really gets a chance to establish itself. Magnet cleaners especially make this simple, and you don't even need to get your hands wet. But they do have a few downsides, and I want to make sure you know them before you choose to buy one. The first one is that some magnet cleaners just don't reach the edges very well. The corners, the rim, the silicone line. So even if you clean daily, those areas still collect algae over time. A super easy fix for that is a regular toothbrush. It gets right into the spots the magnet can reach. Another issue is that magnets can fall off if you move them too fast, which is annoying. And depending on the size, they can disturb the substrate when you get too close to the bottom. And the biggest thing, daily cleaning is only good if you actually do it daily. If you skip days or weeks, then you're not dealing with soft, new algae anymore. You're dealing with tougher stuff like green spot algae. And for that, most magnet cleaners don't do much. That's where the method falls apart. It's only effective if you're consistent. So if you're someone who forgets easily or can't clean daily, a magnet cleaner isn't going to save you. It's going to frustrate you. But if you use it every day and pair it with a toothbrush for the edges, you'll barely see any algae on your glass. So if you have any other questions or want me to cover something specific next time, just leave a comment. I always read them.